This morning we're going to show you some of the technologies used to connect cameras or video cameras, your phone camera to the microscope. Most of you are familiar with a stereoscope or other type of microscope, and the first thing that you need to do is remove the eyepiece. So that's the key. So most microscope eyepieces are either 30 millimeter or 23 millimeter. So if you're using one that is smaller than this one, then you would unthread this piece of the adapter and thread this one in, and you can put it into a smaller eyepiece here. Or the port for the camera on the microscope. Sometimes there's a third port on the microscope called a C-mount, and you can put your camera in there and still have your two eyepieces here. But most of the time there isn't a separate camera port on your microscope, so you just take the eyepiece out. So I'll put this one back in. And then video cameras, as you know, have gotten better and better and better as time has gone on here. But some things have changed about video cameras. If you're going to connect a video camera to this adapter, you'll notice it has threads on it that thread into the lens of the camera. So most of these video cameras now don't have the threads here, which is called the filter diameter. And if you're doing any photography work, or have cameras at home, Nikon or Canon or whatever, sometimes they have threads here, and sometimes they don't. So the newer cameras now don't have these threads. So you may have to look for an older camera to go with this adapter, or you rig it so that it connects together. But these both have matching threads, so this one can just thread right onto the camera here, like this, and then plug this right in here. And just open that up, and then you have the ability to see what's in the microscope. So at first, when you bring up this camera image, you may see just a circle of light, so you have to zoom in to get it to fill the screen. So this afternoon, when we're doing our sampling and looking at the live samples under the scope, I'll show you exactly how that works. But this is an older system. That's how this camera system works right here. And when you take it out, you can kind of see the circle there. All right, because you have this vignette here. This is much smaller than the lens of the camera. So to get rid of that, you would have to zoom in like this to fill the screen, like that. So that would give you the image under the scope then. So you're kind of using more than the magnification of the microscope. So it's hard to get an exact estimate of what the size of the organism is unless you measure everything ahead of time and you have a standard. So when you zoom in, you know how big the organism is. Because you're zooming in farther than what the microscope is doing at low power, let's say. So if you zoom back out, that's not the picture that you want. You don't want that little circle there. You just want to fill the screen. Then you move on to more today's technology, where here is your camera, right? So the advantage here is that most everybody has a phone, and most students have a phone. So one of the newer ones, and I can pass this around so you can see it. So this company develops adapters for the iPhone. I don't think he's doing Android yet, but this is the adapter using the same principles as the one I just showed you. So here is the adapter for this specific size phone. So this adapter fits an iPhone SE. That's this model right here. My phone's probably about 5 years old at this point. But I keep it because it fits this adapter really well. So the camera just lines up with the adapter and just sits right inside there, like that. And then it's the same principle. How do we get connected to the microscope. So same technology. He has a 30 millimeter adapter or a 23 millimeter adapter. So same thing. You would just thread this in to here, and then it slides into the microscope eyepiece, but you would want to remove this eyepiece and have it around on this side because there's nothing over here. And then your image comes up on the screen right here. So very simple one. But here's my recommendation. For example, the iPhone or Android camera is not as good as some of the camera apps that you can download. And so I typically use another camera app that's more adaptable, where you can change the lighting, or you can go to manual focus, because that's really important. If your camera, whether it's this one or this one, will only do autofocus, then every time you change the focus on the microscope, the camera's trying to adjust. So using this or this, you need to be able to set in manual focus, and then you just use the microscope to do your focusing. So autofocus you have to turn off somehow. So the iPhone camera can't, it's always in autofocus. But apps that you get can be put into manual focus. So that's a big advantage. Probably find one pretty easily. Here's the advantage of this one and this one. You'll notice the same thing. They both have a glass lens on the inside. So having a glass lens on the inside is much better than having a plastic one. So the focusing will be that much, your sharper picture will come from that. So that's one thing that you want to look for. And then another one, the last one that I can show you, which I showed you yesterday, is this one that clips onto the phone. So this is the most inexpensive way to have a good zoom for looking at a sample. Or for our purposes, one thing that can be a little bit of a stumbling block is taking your camera and getting a good picture of the whole disk when you have it in a sample dish. So this adapter has a wide angle and a macro lens on it. So when you put this on and you just line it up with the phone camera, and sometimes the phone camera's in the middle or on the side depending on which model you have. But the wide angle lens will help you get a picture of the whole disk, which is really nice. So you can get very, very close to the whole disk, get the whole picture there. And when you have a photograph of the whole disk, students can always, or video even, students can always go back and look and count things at a later time. So they could focus on looking and observing and then go back and look at recorded images or recorded video after. So that helps save you time and helps give them more time to look at a sample versus just one day or an hour or something like that. So having the wide angle is nice for a picture of the whole disk, and then you easily take off the wide angle lens like that, and you have a macro lens, and then you can quickly get pictures of all different individual organisms that are easily seen with the naked eye. So quickly put it down right next to the sample, maybe within a few centimeters of the sample, and take photographs and video. So this is a really, really good tool, and it's the least expensive one out of all these other ones. So this might be 25 to 30 euros, like that. And there are many different types of these on the internet, but here's the thing that all three of these have in common. This is glass, and this is glass, and this is glass. So those are the three options that I wanted to show you for the microscopy. You guys have any questions?